Father Mike and I have known each other for over 40 years. When I first went to Redemptorist High School, he was the chaplain. Right after I became principal, Father Mike was the pastor at St. Isidore, therefore he served on our school board. So I've been principal for 2 months, and Father Mike comes up to me and he says, I have 2 tickets to the LSU Notre Dame game. Do you want to go with me? I said, I'd love to go. He said, good, Thursday night after the school board meeting, we're going to leave between 9 and 9:30. We're going to drive all night to get to Notre Dame. We'll check into a hotel, spend the night, tour the campus, watch the game, and then drive back to Baton Rouge. And that's exactly what we did. We left at 9:30, drove all night, got to Notre Dame, went to the pep rally, checked into the hotel, got up the next morning, went on campus, toured it, went to the game, jumped in the car, drove back, got back in time for 12 o'clock Mass Sunday. Unfortunately, LSU got the daylights beat out of them. And
4 years ago, we were in Ireland, and I was walking with Father Mike, and we were going to an ancient fort, which was at a high elevation, and walking along. I was slow walking because of my arthritis, and Father Mike was walking side by side with me, and everybody else had proceeded on up, and I could tell I wasn't going to get there by the time they got to the top and was going to come back. So I said, Father Mike, I said, you need to go on up there with them so you can see the sight. And so that meant a lot to me that he hung back and was concerned about my well-being. And I was very thoughtful of him. But Father Mike is a very thoughtful person. And
we've been on some other trips with Father Mike, and we really got to know him as a person. He's a wonderful priest. He's caring. He's compassionate. He cares about his people. But we just got to know him on a more personal level. He's a lot of fun. He's a great priest to be around.
I grew up in St. Thomas More Parish. Moved back to St. Thomas More when my husband and I were married. We had 2 little ones and were pregnant with the 3rd. And Father Mike became our pastor. And I was very involved in all the church functions, mother and child, and I liked being involved in the parish auction. So I chaired the auction 2 years in a row. And Father Mike must have seen something, because then he asked me to co-chair a campaign for them. It was Season of Promise, Season of Giving. And so Father Mike and I worked many, many hours together, raising funds, contacting people. But also my husband and Father Mike used to play racquetball. And the deal was that if my husband won, then my husband would buy dinner. Well, he only bought 3 dinners. Really knew how to connect with people in order to get what he needed done. He was very much a one-on-one person, not a big auditorium type person. So he really believed in connecting with people. And so when you connected with him, you were willing to help him out. There's one thing about Father Mike, you can't tell him no. When someone asks me what do I think about when I hear Father Mike Maroney's name, I think a real priest. And I started to get a little teary-eyed because he's just so sincere, so deep. My husband and I had the opportunity to go to Ireland on a pilgrimage. And I always knew Father Mike was quiet, but in Ireland it's a quiet spirituality. And that is what I see in Father Mike. Just beautiful.
Well, I met Father Mike in conjunction with my applying for a position with the Louisiana Interchurch Conference. It's a statewide association of churches, and the Roman Catholic Church is the biggest partner in that organization. And Father Mike was a representative from the Catholic Diocese of Baton Rouge at that time. That was in 1992. Toward the end of January, I was called to be the director, and I've been there ever since. And Father Mike was on the executive committee and the board and represented the Catholic Diocese of Baton Rouge. My family was still in Shreveport. My wife and my 2 sons were living there, and we were planning them to move here in the summer. And Father Mike learned of that. He was the pastor of Our Lady of Mercy at that time, and he had a spare bedroom at the rectory at Mercy, and Father Mike offered that to me, and I graciously accepted it. And he's so generous, and he you know, I stayed there several months, you know, a few nights during the week, each week, and would commute home on the weekends. And so that's how I first learned to know of him, you know, and got acquainted with him. And he's been on the board and executive committee all that time. He's an ecumenist, I call it. You know, it's hard for, I think, pastors and clergy and to have that kind of vision, because we're so honed in on the work we have right in front of us in the congregation and the local parish. But Father Mike had a broader vision about the church and where it was going. And our vision is about having unity around the table, about the sacraments and the Word and mutual recognition of our ministries. And Father Mike has that kind of vision. I think the church has always been so important to him, but he also had that vision of the greater church. So, you know, I think that being able to take the collar off, if you will, is so important. You know, priesthood is a lonely occupation, I think, and to be able to talk to another priest as a person, I think is a real gift. And I think Mike offers that gift, not just to me, but to others as well. But that's what I will treasure too, and do now.
Well, it was 1989 when we first met Father Mike. Diane was intrigued with his Irish accent, but I joined RCIA at Our Lady of Mercy, and we actually saw Father Mike baptize our kids, and I had the honor of him washing my feet and bringing me into the church in Easter of 1990.
Yes, I was intrigued with his Irish accent, and I felt that we were really blessed that this man came all the way from Ireland and ended up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I can actually say I was hoping eventually to hear Irish Cajun accent. I was waiting to see what that would sound like. And I can tell you for a fact, I did witness him at one point eating crawfish. So we almost got him into that Cajun. Yeah, he's almost a Cajun, true Cajun. I think after all these years, he's Cajun.
Father Mike has been a tremendous comfort to our family at a time when our daughter, who was in the youth group under his leadership, had got sick, and he was at the hospital bedside with the sacrament of the sick and performed her funeral service. But he's been just a spiritual blessing to our family. I tell you, that priest can drive a bus. A Leadfoot, Dale Ironheart, whatever you want to. But I was charged with following the bus to Houston, Texas. We were going to Astroworld with altar servers. I was driving a little van, a little 6-cylinder van with altar servers because the bus was full and sleeping bags, and I had it floored. I couldn't keep up with the man.
What I'm most appreciative of Father Mike is that when I came to the Diocese of Baton Rouge 15 years ago, he was very welcoming me, and included me in lots of activities and invited me into a priest support group. And I'm always very appreciative that he always calls to check and see how things are going, how I'm doing. I was sick last year in April, and he called me regularly to just check and see how I was doing and if I needed anything. So I really appreciate that. What I admire about him is, first of all, his honesty and his commitment to the truth. You know, he says what he means, and he means what he says, and I value that. And he's dedicated, and he's dedicated to the people that he serves, and he takes very seriously his responsibility as a priest and his dedication to the vocation of priesthood. And so he wants to do everything that he can for the people that he serves. I'd say they're very lucky to have him as a pastor. I was aware of that most in 2016 after the flood. And he just has a certain get the job done and to do it well. And so I think people were very lucky that they had him as pastor.
I've known Father Mike when he first came to St. Alphonsus, I guess. I had met him one time before when I was studying for the diaconate, and I got a chance to go to one of the meetings he had with a couple to talk about their annulment. And after the conversation, he asked me to stay in and talk to him a little while, which I wasn't prepared for. I thought I'd maybe done something wrong that he found out or something. So I was a little nervous. That was the first time I actually got to sit down and talk with Father Mike. It's always a learning experience. I know one thing about Father Mike when we prepare for Mass, get ready. I normally spend the last few minutes closing doors and drawers in the sacristy, because once he opens a door or drawer, he kind of leaves it open. So I go behind him and close all the doors before we leave to go serve Mass. So, but no, we spend some quiet time together and we talk about everything plus LSU football. Father Mike loves LSU football, and we go over pretty much every home game or even away game, and we bring food and have a little get together, little tailgate party ourselves. It's always pretty interesting the time we get to spend watching football, about who argues about what and who played where. And what's most interesting is that several times I've gone to the football game, watched football game at his house, and before I get there, the fire truck shows up. That means Father Mike tried to cook. Matter of fact, this past Saturday night, I got a call from the insurance service mentioning that there was a fire alarm going off on Frenchtown Road. So I immediately knew who it was. I called him and asked him what he was cooking for dinner that night. Back in 2016, when the biggest majority of Central flooded, Father Mike and I were in contact with each other by phone. I couldn't get to him, or he couldn't get to me because of the high water. But he talked about opening up the school, the upstairs portion of the school, because they had so many people down Frenchtown Road and in the central area that had no place to go. People who were parishioners and also people that weren't Catholic. He provided a place and was excited to be able to do so for people who were stranded. He was just very welcoming to all the families plus their pets when they came in, to be able to give them a place to stay. When COVID shut down all the churches, Father Mike talked and I talked quite a bit, and he was devastated that the parishioners of St. Alphonsus or any Catholic wouldn't be able to go to Mass. It really bothered him a lot, and bothered him so much that he got in touch with Kyle Cutrer, talked to him about setting up some kind of camera system, which we worked off of cell phones in the best way we could, to be able to provide a Mass live stream. He was very concerned about the parishioners and the people of St. Alphonsus being able to at least stay in touch with the family.
Well, I remember Father Mike when he was at St. Isidore, because I used to go there on Sunday afternoon for 6 o'clock Mass when I used to go hunting. But I did not know Father Mike real well until he came to our parish, St. Alphonsus. When I think about Father Mike Moroni, I think about an old-time priest, really dedicated to the people of his parish. Even for an Irishman, he's very calm and cool. Oh, I think over the years that I've really been close to Father Mike and appreciate everything he done for our parish. He has been a wonderful pastor. The thing about him, when he comes to the consecration, you can see the holiness that's in him, and when he raised the host and the chalice, that you know that Jesus is present at the Mass.
I got involved through school on the athletic council, scouting program. So we were kind of the new kids on the block, and Father was, he had a knack of pulling people in. We were doing a little project, and one thing led to the other, and I got involved with the fair and was watching how the fair was run, and I was in awe that the retirement club gentlemen were building the fair, and it was being in construction. It bothered me to see two men for 2 weeks straighten nails because they would reuse the nails, and it would take so long. And 2 weeks prior to 2 weeks afterwards. So the field was down for a month. And so anyway, Father Mike approached the athletic council and asked us, would we be interested or willing to get involved with the fair? And we told him, well, you know, if the price is right, yeah. And he kind of giggled, and he picked up on that pretty quick. So after that particular fair, he asked the beer trailer to leave it and come back and get it Monday or Tuesday. And so he invited all of us to sit and have a few bubbles with him while he convinced us that we needed to do the fair, that he needed to get some young people involved in it. And 15 years later, we're still doing the fair. So it worked. I don't know who got the best of that deal, but that one worked. He was crazy about his bus, and he this is a few years down. He's gotten to know me. I've gotten to know him, and you know, he's one of those priests you just can't say no to. So he approaches me and he says, "Frank, I think you need to get your CDL license so you can drive the bus." And I looked at him and kind of chuckling or laughingly said, "Okay, if you'll get me the annulment." "You don't think Roberto go for that?" "No, you volunteered me to death. I can't do another freebie for you anymore." So this one particular year, instead of driving the bus, he asked me to drive the rental van because he was taking the altar servers to Houston for a weekend, Six Flags and the water thing. And they had too many kids, so they had to rent a van. So he asked if I would drive the van. Well, I knew better, but I did. And somehow or another, I got all of the sweetheart teenagers, all 15 young men that well, let's just say they were sweethearts. We'll leave it at that. Well, we're going through, and I learned a valuable lesson with Father Mike. When he drives a bus and he stops at McDonald's, did you know that the bus driver eats free? It's like, wait a minute. I'm driving the van, and the manager goes, "Oh no, only one bus driver per group." Okay. So returned back, we stopped again at Sulphur McDonald's, and I beat him to the counter. And I told the lady, "I'm the bus driver." So I got my meal free, and he's kind of back in the back. He didn't know anything. He goes up to order his stuff, and he says, "I'm the bus driver." And she said, "He's the bus driver." So Father Mike had to reach in there and pay for his McDonald's on the way home. So with Father Mike, the unique thing about him was his dedication to the kids. He truly put them first. He wanted them to have a good experience. He wanted them to be involved in the school, in the church, almost to the point where you just knew that he saw the big picture, that this is the Catholic community's future, is right here in our elementary schools. And so if we can keep them involved in it, then I think we lessen the chance of them doing something else. And he picked up on that immediately, and it was something that really touched my heart, and I know a lot of others, to work with him, to want to do that, because he was so hands-on. You know, he didn't ask you to do something he wouldn't do.
I've known Father Mike for most of my life. He helped me with a lot of my sacraments. He's my pastor. I've served for him. It's pretty easy mostly to serve for him. He's not very demanding. He'll even kind of hint something if you don't know what to do. He'll kind of just try and give you a sign so you can pick up and know exactly what to do. It's pretty fun, honestly. Kind of gives you something to do during Mass, personally. I like to kind of just, I don't know, do stuff with my hands, I guess. if that makes sense. Just to help him out just kind of helps strengthen my faith a little bit, even if it's just something simple like that. He helped me strengthen my faith a lot because he was present in a lot of my sacraments, especially like reconciliation. I tried to do my first reconciliation with him, even though there was a lot of people I didn't actually get to, but I would have liked to. He helped me with my first communion and my confirmation a lot. He was there in pretty much all of my sacraments, and it's honestly helped me strengthen my faith because it was somebody that I knew and I trusted a lot.
It makes me feel at ease that Father Mike is there for me and he can really help me out, and he's also laid back, so it makes me feel more relaxed when in Mass, and I don't have to feel forced or afraid of anything in my faith and stuff.
I like the fact that Father Mike was there throughout my whole faith because it was nice to see like a familiar face in all of it, and it just kind of put me at ease, and I wasn't as stressed about stuff with Father Mike there because he's not only a pastor, he's kind of like a friend almost.
Every year, Father Mike likes to take the altar service to the water park as a reward, and he likes, when he's there, he likes to hang around with the kids and just have fun and hang out in the lazy river, and it's just a lot of fun. I haven't seen Father Mike go on any of the water slides, but I've heard that he loves the water slides.
Irish eyes will definitely be smiling when you learn 5 things most people don't know about Father Mike. You ready for this? I have them right here. Religious racquetball. Yes, he's an accomplished racquetball player. In fact, he and Archbishop Alfred Hughes played competitive matches for many years, and they'd end up with many bruises, nosebleeds, and sprained ankles. And I have it on good authority, the Archbishop won most of those matches. He's a bus driver in the service of the Lord. He loves driving buses. In fact, he and a friend drove the youth on trips all over the country. Heavenly hounds. He loves dogs. And when he was growing up, listen to this, he owned greyhounds, which he liked to train and race at the dog track. And still today, when he visits Ireland, he enjoys going to the dog track. Emerald Isle Escape. Father Mike visits Ireland at least once a year and gets together with his family in July at their parents' home in the country, which he now owns. And that's no blarney. He's America's pastor. Yes, Father Mike is one of the top pastors in America. In 2013, he was recognized as a distinguished pastor by the National Catholic Educational Association for his work in Catholic education.
He was in the seminary. He was a few years ahead of me. I went into the seminary directly from high school in 1967, and Mike was 2 years ahead of me then. And so I just remember him, I was beginning philosophy, he was beginning theology as well. My memory of him is that he was extremely bright, a very bright student as well. Academics came very easy to him. He was an excellent student. He really knew his stuff very, very well. I don't know if he had to apply himself earnestly, but it came easy to him. And I just remember he was extremely well learned, well read, and very bright intellectually as well. But Mike was, as I say, a few years ahead of me. So we were friends. We all were friends with one another and all that. So regular conversation with one another as well. Mike was, I just remember him being on debating teams. He was very astute in all of that and very effective in all of that as well. So we knew each other. I don't remember him much in athletic games as much. But I remember him particularly as being a very bright student, very capable as well, tremendously capable as well of a big workload. He took on various responsibilities in seminary life as well, and was highly acclaimed and highly respected, greatly loved by all as well.
I have so many memories of Father Mike, but one of my favorite memories, even though it was a very tragic time for everyone in the central community, is during the flood. because Father Mike never left the church or the school side. He was here the entire time, and I was so proud and honored to work next to him to get the school and the church back together under his guidance, because he was just there spiritually for everyone, emotionally for everyone, and it was just amazing to watch.
I've known him since, must have been 85, 86, I guess, when he first went to Mercy. And it's been unique. It's long before we both had gray hair. Well, at least before I had gray hair, that is. The first time I really had any dealings with him, we, you know, of course, you know him through the church, through being your priest and everything. But then we were asked to be advisors with the youth group at Our Lady Mercy. And they were actually looking for a big guy to kind of muscle the kids and keep them all in line and stuff. Yeah, it's fun. But every year we made a fall trip and brought the youth group to different places and went to Disney World. So I'm looking forward to Disney World trip because I'm a roller coaster fanatic. My son and I just love roller coasters like crazy. And we get to Disney World and said, Father Mike, so I'm gonna come with you guys. And I'm thinking, oh crap. Oh heck. I'm not going to be able to ride the roller coaster, so I can be saddled with him, you know, and we walk around and he says, you like roller coasters? I said, well, yeah, actually I do. I love them. He says, I do too. He said, let's go ride this one over here. And it was the Great Thunder Mountain Railroad at Disney World. And we got on it and we were riding side by side. And first big fall, you know, where you go over top of the little hill and goes down. And he's got his hands in the air screaming like a 13-year-old girl. I said, this is my kind of guy now. We hit it off from then on. And did a lot of different things. He found out I had a shop, and he wanted to buy a bus for the church for transportation, just general transportation for the youth group and for the retired group and stuff. And so we bought one and we rebuilt it. I'm talking from one end to the other, big diesel motor, overhauled the motor and everything. And he got it come up one Saturday. He says, I want to paint the bathroom. The bathroom just looks bad. I want to paint it blue. So he's back there painting on the bathroom, working on it. And all of a sudden he pops out and he says, I got to hurry, get over back to church for confession. I'm late. He comes out and I look at him and his hair is blue. I'm talking about he's covered with blue paint. His face is blue. His hair is totally blue. And I said, you better do something with your hair. He said, I ain't got time. Well, I hate to see what the little ladies thought when they did the confession there. He has the blue hair. But we had a lot of fun with the thing. As a matter of fact, we redid the interior of the bus. I'll never forget, it was a cold winter evening and we were trying to do a headliner in it. And so we got there, we got this spray adhesive. We sprayed all over the roof, putting the headliner up in place and everything. And we worked on it until late that night, probably about midnight. The only trouble is we're sniffing those glue fumes all night long. And him and I got so buzzed, we didn't know where we were at. He goes home, he started calling me at 3 o'clock in the morning because he's like, I can't sleep, you know, what's the deal? You know, and Don knows we've been sniffing glue all night long. And just one thing after another. It's just, it was a lot of fun. Had a lot of different trips. Went to Washington, went to Chicago and San Antonio and Orlando. Just had a lot of good times in that bus. And it's just enjoyment to be with him. We've been friends ever since. Big Tiger fan, big Saints fan. We love both of them and try to enjoy the games whenever we can. This past year has been a little hard, but this coming year we're going to do it again.
Serving under Father Mike has been a great experience. He's really calm and he really helps you to understand what being Catholic is about, helping other people and not getting involved where you shouldn't, and just being a positive influence to people around you, keeping things straight and orderly. And he's just a really, really great pastor. He teaches valuable lessons where they need to be taught. Having him as our pastor is just wonderful, knowing that he left his home in Ireland, came all the way over here, and he did all this stuff where he helped through different churches. He's done so much for everyone. And then he he stayed here and he made it his home.
What a joy to talk about Father Mike. You know, I look upon him as one of those intrepid Irish missionaries that date back to the 19th century, continued into 3/4 of the 20th century. They had deep faith roots in rural Ireland. Their church life surrounded them growing up, and they had a world vision. Some went to Africa, some went to North America, South America, even Australia, New Zealand. Father Mike was invited by Bishop Tracy, the founding bishop of Baton Rouge, and he's been a part of the life and history of the diocese since really the 10th anniversary. I think he was ordained on the 10th anniversary of the diocese. And you know, Father Mike was ensconced in a number of parishes, 2 as parochial vicar, 4 as pastor, but involved in so many other activities in the diocese, in religious education, in liturgy, in the Building Review Board, ecumenical activities, served on the board of the Louisiana Church Conference, served as the liaison between the diocese and ecumenical affairs. He was a consultor and a member of the Presbyterial Council, served as a cabinet secretary for pastoral affairs, was dean in 2 different deaneries. It's amazing how generous he's been. But you know, on a personal level, he's been a friend and a collaborator, a supporter. I can attest from our many encounters on the racquetball court that he's a competitor. He doesn't like to lose. And you know, he's strong and powerful and burly. I had to finesse in order to compete with him, but we had some fun times together. We've also cycled together on occasion, not anywhere near as frequently as the racquetball. And we also get together from time to time just to have a lunch or a supper together. I'm always struck by the way in which he's interested in wider issues in the church and in the world.
When I hear the words Father Mike Maroney, I think the whole package, the real deal. We not only have a pastor, we have a friend, a worker bee, a counselor, an arbitrator, a comforter, and many times a nurturer. Father Mike has a mantra, all are welcome. Not only does he preach it, he practices it in any endeavor in which he is involved. He is inclusive to be sure people feel welcome and invited, especially when participating in Mass at St. Alphonsus.
So when I first met Father Mike, I think I was probably freshman in college when he got assigned to St. Alphonsus, and I remember being nervous because the only priest that I knew was Father Tom. You know, that's the only priest I've ever had at St. Alphonsus. So I walked in the sacristy this first Sunday. I was serving, and I remember being so nervous. He's like, "Well, hey, how you doing? I'm Father Mike, and welcome." So, you know, my first impression was really good. Over the years, I've been involved in a lot of different committees and ministries with him, and he's very easy to work with. He's very humble, and you know, he has the big picture. He knows what he wants. He knows what his goal is. He lets us understand his goal, and then we can accomplish it together. In 2016, when we flooded, Father Mike and I worked together to get the gym set up for Mass, and just being able to have an area for our congregation to come and participate in the Mass. And he was, you know, that was the first thing he thought of, is we have to get somewhere for our people to come in, take a break, and receive the Eucharist. And working with him on that was really, really, just to see him work and to do that and to be there for his parish was amazing. And then when COVID hit, the first call I got was from Father Mike, and he said, "Carl, I need to know how we can make the Mass on TV. And I know that's a horrible expression, but, you know, that Sunday we were closed and we had 3 cell phones set up to film Mass and to stream it, and just growing from there and seeing him wanting to reach his parishioners, his flock, and give that message to them just shows how much of a people person or a priest that he is, a pastor that he is for his parish. And, you know, we moved that ministry up, and it's a ministry now, and it's something that he visioned. I don't think he ever thought in his 50 years of priesthood that he would be something that he would be doing, but he did it. And it really didn't hit me that he was preaching to an empty church until Palm Sunday, when we had to move our equipment to a different area of the church, and then I saw the empty church for the first time because I was sitting in the front, and I was like, this man is, you know, preaching to an empty church, probably for the first time in his priesthood. And for him to be able to continue to do that and never faze him was just something amazing to see. And him and I have developed a better friendship during COVID, because I think him and Deacon Robert, we all saw each other every day. It's probably the only people we were seeing every day for a while. So I'm very grateful for that friendship with him.
Okay, Father Mike has been a wonderful part of our life. He was my pastor, he was my boss, and he's a cherished friend. I was in his parish for a good while, and when my kids were older, just the last one starting high school, he approached me to work for him for a day or two, maybe 2 days a week. And I said, well, I don't know, I have to think about it. So I did. It's hard to tell him no. So I did. I went to work for him, and I ended up being there 16 years, working 5 days a week. You know, he kept saying, well, maybe you can work another day. Maybe you can work a 3rd day, 4th day. So I ended up working 5 days for him for a long time. Well, a giant of a man, you know, just a giving, humble person. He's wonderful. He's God's gift to us. He's been a servant all of his life, you know, giving back to others. You know, when parishioners want to see a priest, it's usually because it's not always a happy time. Sometimes the weddings and the births and baptisms, but a lot of times it's because of tragic things that are happening in their personal lives. And Father Mike was a wonderful counselor, very empathetic whenever you had anything to talk to him about like that. Father Mike is a tireless worker and has abundant energy. And I'm going to say that again. He is a tireless worker and has abundant energy. I've never seen anything like it. I used to always tell him he has more hours in his day than most of us do. In the 16 years when I worked for him, I was greatly blessed. He was a great boss and a great visionary. For 2.5 years, a few of us from the parish attended Loyola, taking a graduate course, and we were in a study group together. And then I realized how much and how giving he was with his wisdom in helping me along those 2.5 years. He was there for my family at weddings and buried my husband. As my family, after my husband died, we took a trip as a family to Ireland, and we met Father Mike over there in his hometown, Limerick. And he showed us around and spent the day with us, and it was just really gracious having a host like that in his home country.
Well, when we first moved down here from the Northeast in 1980, we were transplants, didn't really know anybody. We started going to church at St. Isidore, and we met Father Mike. He became good friends of ours and basically became part of our family.
I've worked with Father Mike for 36 years in all the different parishes that he's been assigned to as pastor, St. Isidore, St. Thomas More, Our Lady of Mercy, and now St. Alphonsus. It's been a good working relationship, overall. Well, there's one thing that he asked me to do with him once. All the priests in the diocese are asked to do their funeral arrangements. And Father Mike was very, very reluctant to do his. So with my assistance and a lot of prompting from me, we sat down and we made all the arrangements for him. Father Mike asked me to do two very strange things. The first one was to do his eulogy for his funeral. I'm not sure that I'll do that. But then he also asked me to speak at his 50th anniversary. Now for that, it would be like a dress rehearsal for him. He could hear what I have to say, and if he didn't like it, then he could find somebody else to do the eulogy after.
When we first moved down here, I'm originally from Rochester, New York. Joanne's originally from Jamaica. Our families were still there or in other locations well removed from the Louisiana area. So we were basically on our own. Father Mike was also a transplant from Ireland, so we kind of felt a kindred spirit with him and basically got to know him through that process. He has helped us in our acclimation to Louisiana. This is home now, and he's part of our family as a result of that.
When I got to know Father Mike, and we established a communications, and at the time when Father Mike came, I was working with Lady of Mercy on their finance committee, and so when I was there for him for a number of years, he was 14 years, I believe, and then he was assigned over to St. Thomas More, which I followed him over to St. Thomas More, and then after he left St. Thomas More to where he is at St. Alphonse, I followed him there. So the whole time, the knowing Father Mike has been quite an experience. Father Mike, there's no question that he's the pastor, and he does make the calls. But Father Mike impresses me as an individual who really has a vision for the parish, irregardless of where he was assigned to. And with that vision, he was able to put together a team, so to speak, of the folks that he could get to do many different things within the parish. And when he came over to Lady of Mercy, Lady of Mercy had some ministries, but over the years he developed so many ministries that was just unbelievable. And when he created these ministries and what have you, he was able to get more people involved, more and more and more. So it just mushroomed.
Oh, I met Father Mike probably 41, 42 years ago at St. Mary's in New Roads. I can't remember the type of youth event he was, but it was a lot of fun. It was my first time to meet him. I thought how inspirational he was just in that quick meeting. A couple of times after that, but we really didn't get to be friends until he came to St. Isidore. He's a good friend. He's an incredible guy. His passion for the Word and his passion for people, children, his family, his heritage, his sports. Everybody knows he's a huge LSU fan. That's why I wore the shirt. So it's encompassing. His message from the pulpit, or any of his messages, means so much to me and have for this whole time, whether it was here at St. Alphonse's, which I was thrilled that he became our pastor and I was in the parish to, just bring back an old friendship that we had established so many years ago. Now, I think if he wasn't a priest, he would make a good coach, because as much as he loved sports and kids, and I know he played in his younger years, but coaching, being a priest, there's a lot of similarities there, a priest somewhat is a coach of faith, right?
I could tell you stories about Mike as the pastor. Mike, we met for Central Pastors and decided to have Thanksgiving community services. And as a pastor, Mike just immediately engaged in the community and very promptly volunteered St. Alphonsus as the first location for the service, and just did a stellar job hosting everyone, hosting the community. And that's him engaging as a pastor in the community. But I also can think about Mike the preacher, because it was probably about 2 years after that the decision was made to asked Mike to speak at that service, and that was at another church at that point. And Mike just preached a really good, encouraging biblical message that just really encouraged everyone. And what's interesting of that night is that the host pastor was to follow that and conclude the service. And he stepped up and he said, I've never been christened by a priest, and I've never been served Mass by a priest, but being a good old Southern Baptist, tonight I was blessed by a priest. And it was just Mike as the preacher really encouraging people from the Word of God. But anyone could tell stories about Mike as the pastor and Mike as the preacher, but last fall, in October 2020, my wife and I both were diagnosed with COVID-19, and thankfully it was a very mild case for us. But that's where Mike's friendship was showing, because Mike called just to check up on us and to see how we were doing. And I'm not one of his parishioners. He has no, responsibility of that, but it was a friendship. And that's what I appreciate about Mike, and that is the friendship that he and I have been able to develop over the last several years. He's just been a good friend for me.
We have known Father Mike for over 38 years. He was raised, we met him at St. Isidore. Our children were students there, and they were in the children's activities, and he was a big help. Really good with the kids. And of course, my husband went on more trips than I did on the bus.
We, back when Father Mike first came there, we didn't have a fall festival or anything like that, and so first thing we got was him. We got going with that, and of course, Father Mike would call you, and you could never say. Even way back then when we first met him, you couldn't say no. It's always, we can do this. Yes, Father, we sure can. For me, a great friend, a great person I can talk to anytime about anything. And we have talked to him about, he's been there through rough times, hard times, when we had, death in the family. And just him and I, we talked about sports. Just the other day, he said he could be the new LSU baseball coach. So a great person, a great friend, and somebody that you can depend on.
And he means a lot to us spiritually. We love to hear him pastor, and he's just been a great friend and personal. He blessed our 25th anniversary, and also our 50th anniversary. So, needless to say, he's been around a long time.
I was the preschool director at St. Thomas More when he was there, and he really impacted my life as far as my career and my personal life. I felt for the first time that I was really valued as an employee. Some people didn't think the preschool was quite as important as the big school, as we called it, but Father Mike did, and he supported everything we did there. It was truly a pleasure to work for him. Well, as my pastor, I think one of the things I really remember is in 2005, when we were going through Katrina, and we'd had all these children coming up from New Orleans that needed places, and we were trying to do that. And at the same time, my mother passed away. And Father Mike drove to Shreveport, made a round trip in one day, and served at my mother's funeral and supported me. And me and my father never forgot what he did for us. He never just asked for help. He participated in whatever he asked us to do. When there were people coming up in Katrina again from the nursing homes, he was right there on those buses taking off patients onto stretchers, taking them into the gym to have a place to stay. And then after that, he took a group of men down to New Orleans to help with the renovations of the homes. But he went in and he worked. I've never seen a priest work physically the way he did.
The three words I would use to describe Father Mike would be compassionate, caring, and sometimes he can be very comical. You don't usually see priests like try and make jokes to us, but he would on our way to the altar server trip, he would usually try and tell us some jokes and lighten up the mood a little bit. Father Mike has always been someone I can always come to and talk to about anything I have a question about, and he usually always gives a great answer about the faith, and yeah. I wouldn't really say it's unusual, but I think Father Mike always can push further upon that thought. I feel like it's just really comfortable, I guess, to be able to talk to him and just ask him whatever I'm thinking.
When St. Louis closed and we came to St. Alphonsus, it's totally different, right? Because we felt more of a closed community in terms of we were very familiar with most of the people that we went to church with, where it seems like going from a small house to a big house and now learning the new house that you're in. But Father Mike made that much easier because he was more welcoming in terms of realizing that we had that tenderness because our church had closed, but the openness to let us know we were welcomed at St. Alphonsus. So it really made a big difference.
And I have to say, when I heard that Father Michael was from Ireland, that kind of motivated me a little bit, because I didn't realize that, how can I say, that he was a man of the cloth, that he didn't see us as a color, he just saw us as people. It reminded me of Frederick Douglass when he was exiled from, as a slave, and he went to Ireland, say he was going to stay there for 4 days, and say he ended up staying there for 4 months, because he said that the people of Ireland made him very happy, very content, and they just treated him like a person. And that's what I thought about when I say Ireland. He had to be a good guy.
I believe that in what I've experienced is Father Mike is very spiritual, and his homilies are so special in terms of how he has that delicacy to bring our spirit from the Bible to today's world. And this is something that it touches me, and I just love the way that he's able to break open the word and help us to see it's what we're dealing with today and relate the Bible to that. And it's special. Not everyone can do it, but he does a beautiful job at it. So we love that.
Well, I tell you, I've been ordained, it'll be 11 years. And I met Father Mike the first time when he came to our parish, 2 years before I was ordained. So that's 13 years. And the first couple of years I was still in seminary studies, and so I didn't interact with him a whole lot, but I asked him questions anytime I had something. But as I became a deacon, he really helped me out. He guides me. Especially when I first started, I made a lot of mistakes. He said, that's okay. He helped, he knows how I was, and he really helped me and guided me. And once after you serve with him a little bit, you know exactly what he wants. You know exactly how he, goes to the whole congregation. But for me, I know what he wants from me, and that's great. It's not like one day you come in, something out the ordinary. No, you pretty much know, and he'll tell you if not, beforehand. And so he really gives you a heads up, like I was saying, but he's really easy to work with. Just makes my job easier. I'm real comfortable. He really makes you comfortable. And I tell you what, once I got to know him, but working with him, I see a lot of qualities in Father Mike, that I wish I had. One thing, he remembers people's names. Amazing one time, he remembers the name. What? I can't even remember the waitress that's serving me. She just told me her name 15 minutes later. I don't know what it is, but he remembers names. He really, one thing I know, he really cares about his parishioners. I'm back, I know because he'll talk to me about different people or parishioners, and he really wants to know what's going on in their life. You wouldn't just from far off, you wouldn't know that, but he does, and he's really helped me to want to know about the parishioners that we serve, and he really he really cares about him. It's not like, oh, so and so. He really cares. Ever since I've known him in this parish, he's really been a caring person and very, very driven person. You know, I noticed that about him right off the bat. He gets up in the morning, he doesn't stop. I mean, he's driven, he exercises, he does everything. That's why he's in such great shape. But he's driven. But it's all for the parish, pretty much. I mean, that's his life.
What Father Mike created for and with me was not only the tremendous spirituality, but the fact that he was able to have you more involved in the church in multiple capacities. The number of videos that we did to raise money, the rebuilding of the school, the rebuilding too of different things we did there was kind of like the catalyst that really established the friendship. And then after that, he says, Pat, I want you to serve on the board of what we're trying to do for St. Vincent de Paul Pharmacy. And I've told this story so many times that in sitting on that board, it was all about writing grants. And I said, Mike, I can't write grants. He says, don't worry about it. This is after about a year. He said, it'll come to you. So I had this sinus infection. And sometimes when you stand in a hot shower and that water's hitting you in the face, I thought, you know, if you could take this pill bottle, put a couple of bucks in it, throw it into another pill bottle, maybe we create something. So the intellectual property there was the canisters that became fill a prescription for the needy. And after these many years and raising all the money, and we were working out of a closet, now it's a standalone building, and Michael Acaldo sometimes says it's the house that Pat built, but actually it's the house that Mike and Pat built, Father Mike, in that he and Redfield Bryan, you know, really encouraged me to be a part of that. But it's an amazing friendship and an amazing relationship in which he baptized both Michael and Katie. First reconciliation, first communion for both of them, confirmation for both of them. Katie was married at St. Mary's Cathedral in Killarney, and Father Mike officiated for that. Recently baptized our first grandchild, Nora, out at St. Alphonsus. So with that, it's not only the friendship there, but it's a spiritual friendship. And I can't imagine the number of prayers he's probably offered up for me. But there was one time when he called me and he said, hey, Pat, come on over. I want to visit with you for a second. I said, sure. So I walk in his office, and Mabon is sitting there. And we had been, as all couples do and marriages do, we had gone through a little bit of a rough spell. And he says, Pat, let me tell you something. He said, the spirituality will get you so far, but you really need to listen to Mabon, and you and her go ahead and go do the counseling. It's just a friend helping you out. And I think, too, that probably the highlight there, too, was when he was Grand Marshal of the St. Patrick's Day Parade to wear into the green. It was just not only a marvelous day, but to be able to have his relatives in for that, too. It's just one heck of a great tradition. So in all of those years, it's not only the commitment that he makes to his parishioners, the commitment that he makes to the church where he is stationed, but also taking it above that too, and always looking to have maybe just a wee little bit of fun too along the way in that regard.
How are you, Mike? Hope you're keeping well. I hope you're enjoying your day of celebration for your 50th. It's a pity none of us can be over with you at the moment, but unfortunately that's the way it is with COVID and other things going on. Anyway, congratulations, and hope you have a nice day. It's been a long journey, 50 years, but I'm sure it was a very rewarding journey as well. Can we also say hello and send our kind regards to all your friends and all your colleagues who have been enormous help and support to you over the years. We look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. Can I put you on to Pat now? She wants to say a few words as well.
Hi Mike, I was just reminiscing, and in fact we were your first wedding, and it was you that introduced me to Sean, and as they say, the rest is history. So have a lovely day and enjoy yourself.
Happy 50th, Mike. Have a great day.
Hi Mike, congratulations. Happy 50th from Marion, my mum and dad, to Kristen and me, and then to my child as well, Holly. Thanks, and hopefully see you in a few weeks.
Bye.
Congrats.
Bye. Happy 50th.
Happy 50th. Happy 50th.
Mike, it's Meg and Steve, Ian, Mark, Dylan and Rylan here in Oadby. A typical British summer day of torrential rain. We want to say congratulations on 50 years of the priesthood and 50 years in the priesthood. I remember that when you first went to Baton Rouge, communication was by letter only, which would take 3 to 4 weeks. How things have changed. We want to say hello and hope that you really enjoy all the celebrations. But really, to me, you're just my big brother. Love from Meg, and Steve's going to have something to say.
Hi Mike, congratulations on 50 years, very worthwhile service and at various parishes. And you may remember back in 2008 when we visited, you took us on a tour. So we've sort of shared 50 years with you in that respect. A tour of all the parishes you worked in, the churches, schools and the sports fields. And I remember the pride you had in showing us them. So we shared that bit of the journey with you. And I sort of remember your visits back to Ireland every summer, particularly the very conventional items of luggage that a Catholic priest might carry with him. 2 in particular, a window and a chainsaw. But enjoy in a suitcase, of course, yeah. Enjoy your celebrations, and you deserve that sense of pride.
Hello, Uncle Mike.
Hello, Uncle Mike.
I'm Rylan, and this is Dylan.
I'm Dylan, yeah.
And congratulations on 50 years of being a priesthood.
Yeah, congrats.
Hi Mike, it's your nephews Ian and Mark from Leicester. Hope you're well. Congratulations on 50 years. I know I haven't seen much of you over the last few years, but many fond memories from our summers in Athay. You always kept me busy with some sort of project and somehow at the same time managed to keep me entertained, so thank you for that.
Yeah, just congratulations, great achievement, and hope you really enjoy, your celebrations, and appreciate things maybe slightly different, with the times we're living in, but I hope you have a good time, and yeah, like Ian said, some great memories and some great summers over in Ireland, and every morning you take us into Athay, get us an ice cream, and sort of Ian always had a twister. I had a brunch, I think it was, so yeah, and sitting on the tractor. Probably definitely my first ever driving experience. So, yeah, and also just thank you so much for your generosity over the years to me and the boys. We always really appreciate everything you do for us. So, thank you.
Yeah. Cheers, Mike. Enjoy.
Take care.
Hey everybody, I hope you'll have a lovely day. Congratulations, Father Mike. We're here in your home for this special occasion, and where we were all born. And at that time it was home births only, which is rare these days. Sadly we can't be with you for this occasion, and but we look forward to seeing you very shortly. And also, can't imagine that it was 40 years, the 40-year anniversary that we saw you for your special occasion, and then in 2009 we were there to celebrate with you for St. Pat's Day. St. Patrick's, I should say. And we hope that in these times everybody is happy and healthy and safe. And we hope that you will have a great time and enjoy and relax your special occasion. Love you. Talk to you soon. Lots of love to everybody. Bye.
Hi Siobhan. Okay, hi Father Mike. Siobhan and I spent 5 fabulous years here from 2004 to 2009. And then we left it all to you to do the work, and along those last number of years too, your work's still been carrying on in Baton Rouge. I know there's a huge amount of stuff happening this weekend, but we ought to have all said our own bit along the way. So we were available last weekend in the church in Athay where it all started. And then today, another message from us all over here in Ireland, trapped in by the COVID crisis, so we can't get out, but you know fairly certain I would have been there if we could have. So congratulations to Mike, and a fantastic 50 years of service to others with no particular need for your own personal gain. It's an amazing journey, so credit to you. Keep it up, and we see you in a few weeks' time. Bye.
Well, Mike, not only have you been my pastor, you've also been my spiritual advisor at times. You've been my mentor, and you have been my close friend throughout a lot of times at Redemptorist High School and St. Alphonsus. I am honored and privileged to know you and to have worked with you and to call you my pastor and my friend.
We would like to congratulate you on 50 years of service. That's a lot of sacrifice. You've been in several parishes, and I'm sure all of them have benefited greatly from you having ministered to them.
Father Mike, I want to thank you for everything you've done for me and my family. You have been a support, a solid rock, and an inspiration. And I have to say, as an Irish heritage girl, that I'm very proud to be Irish, especially as you as a model of an Irish man. Love you. Congratulations.
Mike, I couldn't be happier for you on your 50th anniversary of your ordination of the priesthood. You know, you're God's gift to the church, really, and I'm so happy for you, and I know God will continue to bless you in your life and ministry.
Thank you, Father Mike, for sharing 50 years of your faith with our family.
Congratulations, Father Mike, on 50 years of dedicated service in the priesthood.
Well, Mike, congratulations on 50 years. The time I've been able to work with you has been so memorable to me. It is very much an honor to serve with you, the people of St. Alphonsus, and the whole community of Central. The presence you bring to the parish, the presence you bring to me and my family have been unbelievable. It's a pleasure to be a friend, a best friend of yours, and to do things together. I just couldn't ask for anyone else better to serve with than I have with you, and I thoroughly enjoy it, thoroughly blessed to be able to do that with you as well.
Congratulations on 50 years of priesthood. Not too many of them make 50 years nowadays.
Father Mike, wanted to say congratulations on your accomplishment. I have, anniversary-wise, I'm a few years behind you with my wife, but you are the inspiration for me. You are unique, individual. I know you are loved throughout this parish and throughout this city, and I am extremely honored to be able to be a part of that. And to have your friendship in my life means the world to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Father Mike, for being there through all these years. Congrats on 50 years, and hopefully the next few years that you're still here with us will be great.
Thank you, Father Mike, for being here for me all these years, and I wanted to say congratulations on your 50 years.
You know, Bishop Ott used to say, "Be light in the Lord." Bishop Ott saw that light in Father Mike. Father Mike, from St. Isidore to St. Mary's to St. Charles Borromeo, Our Lady of Mercy, St. Thomas More, St. Alphonsus, thanks for being a light in our lives, a light that shines brightly, leading us to a deeper faith, greater service to others, and more blessings than shamrocks. Happy anniversary.
My congratulations on your golden jubilee. You have certainly fought a good fight in every way. You've been truly wonderful, very committed as well. You've been enormously effective, truly. Also as well, theologically forward thinking, and truly very much with your people as well. Congratulations, you truly have done enormously well, and I truly revere you greatly. I have a high regard for you, always looked up to you as well, and continue to as well. May you have a wonderful celebration, indeed, well deserved, but may you feel good about all of your accomplishments. You've truly been extraordinary and wonderful in so many ways. You've worked hard, you've empowered people greatly, you put great life into your various communities, but particularly I love your pastoral outlook, your theology as well, forward thinking, enabling people to be better as well. I just have the highest of regard for you. You've truly been extraordinarily wonderful in so many ways. God bless you, congratulate you, congratulations for it all. God bless you always.
So I'd like to say a couple of words directly to you, Father Mike. Thank you for being such a good friend, and thank you for being such a good priest. You have given of yourself generously, and I know as you relinquish some of the administrative responsibilities, you're going to continue to be a good spiritual father. Ad multos annos, ad multas animas. Many more years, many more souls, Father Mike.
Father Mike, thank you for sharing your time, your talent, and your treasures with us at St. Alphonsus. We are better people because you chose to do so. Please know you are loved, you are admired, and you are respected all over South Louisiana. It is our sincere hope and wish that God richly blesses you with His grace and mercy each and every day. Congratulations on reaching this milestone in your life. Happy 50th anniversary.
Father Mike, thank you for being our pastor. Thank you for believing in me and pushing me to do all the things that you asked me to do. I am sincerely grateful for you and for your friendship and your leadership. And congratulations on 50 years in the priesthood. I wish you many more, and may God bless you.
Father Mike, you've been so gifted, and in turn, you've shared all those gifts with us. You answered your baptismal call to go out and to love others. Your missionary zeal fulfills what Pope Francis has called all of us to be. A Christian is our first duty to serve others, especially the poor and the marginal, just as Jesus did. We celebrate you, Father Mike. We celebrate you and we celebrate your priesthood. Congratulations. We love you. Aaron, go brah.
Father Mike, we love you, and we're so excited that you're part of our extended family. Our children and grandchildren love you as a very, very wonderful uncle to them.
Congratulations, Father Mike.
Father Mike, congratulations on your 50th anniversary. We certainly wish you the best of luck. We've always loved you, we admired you, and we respect you very much. And we hope that you have a successful career.
Father Mike, congratulations on 50 years. Thank you for being such a dear friend and such a presence in my life, and showing me your passion, your faith, the faith that you serve with and you exude to everyone, including myself. I thank you for everything you've done for me, from the hospital visit many years ago to giving me the eagle eye back when we were doing youth ministry a long, long time ago. Congratulations on 50 years. I hope you can carry on for many more, and I'm thankful and blessed for the past and looking very forward to the future. I love you. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Mike, congratulations on 50 years in your ordination as priest for the Roman Catholic Church. I know you've been a blessing everywhere you've been. I appreciate the friendship that you and I have been able to initiate and to grow. And, you know, I don't know that I could say I look forward to another 50 years, but in the years that ahead, I just ask for God's fruitfulness on your life and ministry.
Father Mike, we've been together a long time, buddy, and you've been a great friend, a great person for us, both personally and spiritually. I love you very much, and you're like a brother to me, and I know I can always depend on you. Thank you for all you do for us.
And Father Mike, I feel the same, and you can't ever retire, so don't even plan on it.
Father Mike, congratulations on your 50 years as a priest. I want you to know that you impacted my career and my personal life. Thank you so much for your service.
Congrats, Father Michael, on 50 years, and also thank you for being there for me whenever I needed you.
Hi, Father Mike. Just so happy for you. And 50 years is such a beautiful celebration, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. Congratulations, blessings, and everything to you. You deserve it. Thank you for being such a beautiful representation of what God has asked for everyone that has taken that holy orders, and you're doing a beautiful job. Thank you for being who you are.
And we hope and pray that you have another 50 years, Father. Keep up the good work.
So, Father Mike, we've heard a lot of fabulous tales, some descriptions about you, some blessings, some really positive, impactful. Father Mike, I mean, you are a blessing to all of us, no matter what parish, no matter what people, no matter what situation you've been in. You are just a head shake as far as what you deliver to the people that you provide guidance for spiritually. We've heard really a lot of great things. Some true, maybe some not so true, but we'll let others decide that. Thank you for everything you've done for me and my family. We love you a lot, pray for you every night, and thank you.
Congratulations to you, Father Mike. I am so excited and honored to witness the celebration of your ordination. We thank you for your loving service to our church and our school. I am truly blessed to have worked with you for the last 12 years as a principal here at St. Alphonsus. Everyone at the school wishes you many, many blessings in your 50th anniversary.
Happy anniversary, Father Mike. Congratulations on 50 years.
Congratulations on 50 years, Father Mike. We're blessed to have you, and thank you for everything you've done for us.
Father Mike, I just happen to every once in a while when I leave the house, I always keep a bottle of Patty's Irish whiskey with me. So I'm going to do a little toast to you. May the road ride to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face. May the rains fall soft upon your field. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. So from Patty to Mike, Slosha.